What's going on, everybody? And welcome to the first ever episode of the Trophy Room Podcast. I'm your host, your boy Nick. I'm here with y'all ready to talk NBA, NFL, MLB, WNBA, and more. For today's topics, I just got a little intro about myself, how I like players I like in the league, some of my favorite teams I love watching, some of the favorite teams I loved watching growing up. I got a topic of NBA offseason. This NBA offseason has been crazy. I'm going to just start with that, and then I'll talk more when I get into the topic. I got the NFL. The NFL's been crazy. NFL's been wild. Unfortunately, NFL's had a couple injuries, but we're going to get into that later. I hope everybody's good. And then we're going to talk a little more other sports going on. You got MLB going on. We got the WNBA season going on, if anybody's watching. But I'm ready to get started, man. I appreciate y'all for watching. Make sure y'all hit the follow button, like the video, hit the subscribe button on all platforms. Make sure y'all follow me. I'm going to be doing this a lot. I'm going to be putting out content as much as I can. And I hope y'all just here for the ride along with me. And I hope y'all just support. All right, on to the first topic. I'm going to give y'all a little bit of introduction about myself. As most of y'all know me, my name is Nick. And, my Twitter handle, I go by your boy Nick. That's how a lot of my boys know me. Some of my favorite teams I love right now, just to start off with the NBA. As you can tell, I got the Miami Heat jersey on. Bam Adebayo, one of the best big men in the league. I got my boy D Wade in the back. As you can tell, my favorite team is the Miami Heat. I grew up watching D Wade at my uncle's house. Just, that's how I really fell in love with the game of basketball. Watching D Wade play the Knicks and just his upcoming years, I loved his game and I loved everything about it. My second favorite team in the NBA is the New York Knicks. I'm from New York, gotta rep the home team. I've been there since I couldn't even tell you. Knicks tape days, J.R. Smith, Iman Shumpert, Carmelo Anthony. Those were the fun times, man. My second favorite team I got is the Clippers. My third favorite team, I got is the Clippers. PG, man, really just a PG guy. PG's been one of my favorite guys. Talk about the Heat. PG used to torch us. And y'all know, when we used to go to those ECF battles, the battles in the second round, PG used to torch us, bro. But that was overall a good team. They had George Hill, him, they had fun Lance to watch. They had David West, Roy Hibbert. They had a great team back in the day. And then, my fourth team is the Blazers. They got a young core going on. We'll talk about the Dame situation later. I know some of y'all waiting to hear my opinion on that, but the Blazers are a good team. I love Scoot. I think Scoot is going to be one of the top guys in the NBA in the next up-and-coming years. He looks so good as a rookie. He looks really good in the G League, and he's gonna have a great career. I'm hoping he stays in Portland. They got other guys like Anthony Simons. I think Anthony Simons is a bucket. I got to see him play live. He was great, man. He was really good. On to the NFL. I'm really a two-team guy. Again, New Yorker, love the Jets, and I grew up watching the Raiders. I actually like the Raiders because of their jersey colors, black and white, regular stuff. So I grew up watching the Raiders. I fell in love with the Raiders. MLB, I'm a big Mets guy. LGM, let's go Mets. For soccer, I love Chelsea. I grew up Chelsea. Actually, soccer was my first sport growing up. And I played soccer, and I loved watching Chelsea. For some of y'all that know soccer a little bit, Didier Drogba, Frank Lampard, we have Fernando Torres, David Luiz, all them guys. And, WNBA, again, New Yorker, New York Liberty, baby. Yes, sir. But I do got to show a lot of love to the Connecticut Sun. My best friend, shout out to Jalil, man. He live in Connecticut. He started taking me to some of the WNBA games. I fell in love with the Connecticut Sun. That's really when I fell in love with, like, WNBA in general. But, I support New York, and, the Sun will always have a place in my heart. So the next little thing I got about myself, top 5 players in the league that I like watching right now. I got a little NBA list and an NFL list. My NBA list at number 5, I got D'Angelo Russell. I used to go to Brooklyn games a lot. like a couple years ago. That was when they had the fun Brooklyn Nets team led by D'Lo, Spence, Karis LeVert. They had what's his name? Not Cork Miles. I forgot his name. But they had a young Jared Allen. They were a good playoff team. They're a fun team to watch. At number 4, I got my guy PG-13, man. PG-13, as I said before, love his game, love his two-way ability. As y'all see on my list, I'm a big favor. I favor a lot in two-way guys. I love two-way ability that you can score on one end, come back, lock a guy up, and just be able to do both sides of the court because that's really what basketball is all about. Being able to play both ends of the basketball. Number 3, I got Himmy Buckets, man. I got Jimmy Butler. I love Jimmy when he was in Chicago. Came in, he had that dog from the jump. Nobody really knew about Jimmy, but he came in, was a defensive stopper. He had big moments when he was in Chicago. He led the Timberwolves to their first playoff berth, besides a couple years ago. But before then, in a long time, Jimmy was the guy on that team. Jimmy was like a second or third option in Philly, depending on how you look at it. And he did great in Philly. I feel like he definitely helped Joel Embiid shape into the player that he is today. And you know what Jimmy's done as a Miami Heat, man. 2 out of the 4 years went to the NBA Finals. We had one bad year in the first round. We got swept. And then the next year after that, ECF a buzzer lost by a jump shot, but it happens, man. I'm cool with Jimmy taking that shot. And my second favorite player in the league right now is the guy wearing on my shirt, man, Bam Adebayo. If y'all can see with the mic, Bam Adebayo, man. Again, two-way ability, third best big man in the league behind Joker and Embiid. I don't care what none of y'all say. That's the way I look at it. But I am open. Number 4, Anthony Davis. I definitely get what you're saying. I'm not applauding. I mean, I'm not upset if you put AD over Bam. I get it. But to me, Bam, third best big in the league. He can guard at a high level. He got his mid-range jumper. Jumper. He can attack the basket. He's probably second or third best big passer in the league, behind obviously Nikola Jokic. But like I said, man, his two-way ability, he can guard 1 through 5. He's one of the only people in the league that can literally guard 1 through 5. But and man, my favorite player in the league, soon to be Miami Heat, Damian Lillard, one of the best scoring guards in his position, obviously behind Steph Curry. One of the best shooters at his position, definitely top 5 shooter at his position, definitely top 5 shooter of all time. Just scored 71 last season. I can't wait for him to come to Miami. It's going to be such a great time. On to my top 5 NFL players. At number 5, I got Derek Carr. Derek Carr was definitely one of my favorites growing up, watching the NFL. Obviously, when he started on that Raider team, that's kind of like he was the main guy that really got me into, Raider Nation and stuff like that. Number 4, I got Jalen Hurts. I like Jalen when he was in college. I thought Jalen was going to be a star in the league. He came to the Eagles, sat for like his first, I think, year or two. And then last year, he got his first full year as a starter, took him to the Super Bowl. And not outplayed, I'm sorry, that's a bad word. He came out in the Super Bowl and he dogged. He killed in the Super Bowl despite the loss. He went out there, he put the team on his back, and he did what he had to do. That's the type of quarterback that people need. But my third favorite player in the league right now, New York Jet, Sauce Gardner. Sauce is another guy. He got that. Oh, excuse me. He got that dog in him, man. He's a dog. He came in rookie year, only led a 56 yards all year, led the Jets to a top 3 defense in the league, and for the first time done in a long time, I actually don't think ever, he was the first rookie cornerback to make all-pro first team. Bro, he killed. He's one of the best corners, if not the best corner in the league. Man, exciting things to happen
with this New York Jets team. At number 2, I got Davante Adams. My personal opinion, he's one of the best route runners in the league. He got some of the best hands in the league. His IQ is insane, and he showed it. Davante Adams, before Jettis came, DHop came. Um, to me, Davante Adams is definitely one of those top guys in the league, one of those top receivers in the league, and I can't wait to see what he does this year. And at number one of my favorite quarterback to watch in the league, Josh Allen. I saw Josh when he first came with the Bills. He had a big issue. He wasn't as efficient as he is now. He had a decent amount of interceptions, but watching that man grow and becoming one of the top quarterbacks in the league right now, it's crazy, man. He's really came into his own as a man. He leads this Buffalo Bills offense, and now that they have a star wide receiver next to him, they got a couple good. They have a pretty good number 2 in Gabe Davis. Obviously, number 1, I was talking about Stephon Diggs. You got good running backs behind him, and man, they've been consistent ever since Josh has been good. Ever since Stephon Diggs came there, they just got to get over that hump. That defense is good. So they got big things coming for them this year. All right, man. On to the next topic. I want to talk about the NBA offseason. First, I'm gonna start by talking about my boy Dame Dollar. Lately, it's been about a month since Dame requested a trade, maybe a little over a month. And from what I hear, Miami has been the only team to offer Portland a trade. They're the only ones that sent out qualifying offers. Obviously, they're not qualifying if Portland doesn't like their offer. I think one of the main things that Portland doesn't want is Tyler Hero, which is why it's so hard to find a third team in this deal, is because Tyler Hero is very underrated. I'm trying not to speak from a biased standpoint because everybody, as you can tell, everybody knows how much I love the Miami Heat. But when it comes to Tyler, I feel like Tyler can be a great number 3, maybe even number 4 on a championship team. And on a young team, he could be a number 2, maybe easily a number 1, depending on the team. But he would definitely be a solid number 2 on a rebuilding team. But I don't get why people don't want Tyler. But I feel like definitely trying to find Tyler a new home is a big thing. Um, when when I forgot who it was, I think it was the commissioner that sent out the memo about Damian Lillard. I thought that was crazy. I thought it was nuts. Just to talk about that a little bit, when it comes to the memo about teams trading for Damian Lillard, I think it's too late. It's too late to send out a memo. It's too late to say all that. Like, there were already reports, whether they were true or not, that his agent put out, oh, if Dame gets traded to a team that's not the Heat, he won't show up for training camp. Damian Lillard only wants to be in the Miami Heat. He only wants to be in the Miami Heat jersey. And with all the reports going out, with the memo that got sent out, it's too late for that. At the end of the day, like, there's not much else you can say that hasn't already been put out there, whether the reports are true or not. Like, just get the way I look at it, just get the deal done. You get the deal done. You get Dame out of Portland. You give him what he wants. Depending on the package, you get a decent amount in return, and that's it. Like, it's just it's getting a little out of hand, in my opinion. If Dame wants to go to Miami, just send him. When James Harden wanted out of Houston and wanted to go to Brooklyn, they sent him. When he wanted to get out of Brooklyn, I understand there are two different scenarios. Brooklyn has the asset. Brooklyn had the assets. When he went to Philly, Philly had the assets. They sent over Ben Simmons. It's hard for Miami because we don't have a lot of assets. We have a decent amount of picks. I guess that might be why it's been taking so long, because we have they're trying to get a third team, maybe even a fourth team. so we can, send Tyler Hero. They don't like some of the players we have, but I mean, it's always a thing. It's always a thing. And then there was a report today that came out that Portland doesn't. No, I'm sorry. That Dame, if Dame is not traded by training camp, he will play in training camp. I get it. He's gonna play because he wants his money. If you miss training camp, that's a fine. You miss preseason or whatever, that's a fine. Anytime you miss something, that's a fine. We saw it in the Ben Simmons trial. When Ben's not trial, that's a bad word to say, but we saw it in the Ben Simmons thing. When Ben Simmons wanted to trade, they took a while. Every time he didn't show up, they fined him. He showed up, and then Doc didn't play him. Doc was like, "Yeah, you could sit over there." Like, there's really no, when a player wants a trade, there's really no win-win here. The way I look at it from Portland's standpoint, they gotta let him go. They gotta let him go, and for the right reasons, because the way I look at it, this is a players' league. If you don't send Dame off to where he wants to go, and you just go with the best package, that doesn't send him to Miami, that looks bad on Portland's organization. That looks bad on the young stars coming in because they're like, wow, they treat Dame, one of their franchise players, like this. Like, look at it from Scoot's perspective. They treated him like this. Scoot comes in, and then, damn, like Scoot will look at the front office like, damn, if they treat Dame like that, how are they going to treat me? When it's time for my extension, I get an all-star. Later on, I get my extension. Then Scoot becomes an All-NBA player. Then he gets a bigger contract. He might not want to resign. He's going to keep that stuff in the back of his mind, talking about, wow, if they treat Dame like this, how are they going to treat me? Maybe I just want to come here, do my years, and get out. But you never know, man. You never know what's going to happen. And the next piece I want to talk about the NBA offseason was the Harden trade. Harden had Harden had the opportunity of opting out of his player option contract so that way he could possibly go to another team. Instead, Harden opted into his contract, which I understand. Don't want to leave money on the table. But he opted into his contract, and within a few hours, or maybe even the next day, he requested a trade out of Philly. Now, wherever Harden goes, it's only going to be a 1 year rental, and Harden wants to go to the Clippers. The issue with that is the Clippers don't even want him, which I think is hilarious. The Clippers don't even want him. The Clippers don't want to trade for him because they don't want to give up key role players like Terrence Mann, or I don't know if his name was mentioned, maybe even Bones Highland or somebody like that. They want to keep their core together, which I completely understand. My question is, why does Harden want out of Philly? Last year, you were one game away from the first Eastern Conference Finals in Joel Embiid's career. You were almost there. The way I look at it, all they got to do is keep Joel Embiid healthy during the playoffs, because he never is. Harden's got to show up, and when Embiid's not there, he's got to show out. He's got to go back to that. James Harden, I understand he's not the same player, but even if you're not the same James Harden you used to be, you have to be the facilitator, get everybody else involved, get your shots. We saw in game 1 of the Celtics series, he dropped 40 points and led them to a victory. You're telling me you could do that once or twice in a game, in a series, but you couldn't do it. You couldn't like help out Joel? Like, it kind of doesn't make sense to me why he would leave. That team is so good. And now you add a leader and a defensive pest in Patrick Beverley. You still have Tyrese Maxey. You still have Joel Embiid. You keep Paul Reed as a backup. He showed a lot of great moments last year when Joel was out. And yes, losing Niang was kind of tough from a shooting perspective, but then you have another bench guy in DeAnthony Melton, who can shoot the three ball, who can who can guard at a high level. Like the way I look at it, I don't understand why Harden would want out of Philly. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like I understand that he's ring chasing, but the West is tough. I don't know why you would want to go to a Clippers team that last year didn't even did they make last year they made it out they didn't make it out the first round. No, they lost in the first round to the Suns. Then the best year they had, Kawhi was hurt. PG went off. They went to the WCF and then lost to the Suns. But the West is only getting better. His best chance to at least make the finals, I think, is in the East. Because Philly is still somewhat like a powerhouse. They're still like a top 3, top 4 team in the East. And I think that's his best opportunity to ring chase. And you only have 1 year left. Go in your 1 year, show up in shape, which is a big issue. Show up in shape and show them what you can do. And then when you become a free agent, you look, see where you can go, and then go somewhere else. Like, you already got the money. It's not about the money at this point. Like, I understand you want to win the chip. The way you should look at it right now is your best chance to win is in Philly. I don't get it, man. But on to another Eastern Conference team. They're the best record in the East. I lied. I'm sorry. The Celtics did not have the best record in the East. The Milwaukee Bucks did, which lost in 5 games to the 8th seeded Miami Heat. Sorry, I had to throw that out there. Talking about Jaylen Brown's contract, 5 years, $304 million. He's the highest paid player in the NBA. That is such an overpay. Again, I'm not trying to speak on a biased perspective. I'm not trying to speak from a biased standpoint. I'm not trying to do any of that. I applaud Jaylen Brown. I think the Celtics are a great team. They gave us a fight these past 2 years. Jason Tatum is so tough. Adding Kristaps Porzingis is a huge piece for them. They're definitely going to be a big contender this year coming up. But Jaylen Brown, $304 million over 5 years, and you're the second best player on a competitive playoff team. I understand people label them as contenders and stuff like that. Adding Kristaps definitely gives them a boost, but the second best player on a competitive playoff team, and he had 8 turnovers in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Jason Tatum goes down. It's your time to shine, buddy. 8 turnovers. I understand he got All NBA. He was due for the contract. 305 for 5 years. He's not even the best player on his team, and he's the highest paid player in the NBA. Now, imagine when it's time for Jason Tatum to renew his contract. What are you going to pay him? 5 years, $405 million? Like, I don't get it. I just want to reiterate, Jaylen Brown is a great player. He's a great two-way. He can attack the basket. He can shoot a little bit. But 304 for 5 years? And he's not even the best player on your team. I don't know, man. To me, it looks like an overpay. But, I mean, this year, hopefully he comes out and he shuts everybody up. Just to wrap up the little NBA offseason segment, some of the leftover free agents that I have that haven't been signed yet are Kelly Oubre Jr., Christian Wood, John Wall, PJ Tucker, who's a restricted free agent, Terrence Ross, and this one's really just a prayer, is DeMarcus Cousins. I'm hoping DeMarcus finds his way back into the NBA. I'm hoping for him. He killed in Puerto Rico. Obviously, there's not much talent in Puerto Rico, but I don't understand why he's not in the NBA. He did great as a backup big behind Joker in the Nuggets Warriors series 2 years ago. I thought he was great. But bring Boogie back, man. Bring DeMarcus back. Bring him back into the league. Um, Kelly Oubre, free agent, small forward, power forward. He was a 20-point per game scorer last year. He can definitely be a punch off somebody's bench. Maybe even a starter. I don't. Hopefully, a lot of guys start to sign contracts once this Damian Lillard situation is over, because I know a lot of people are waiting on that. See how that happens. I definitely know the Miami Heat are waiting for that to see who we can sign and depend on who we let go of. But Kelly Oubre could be a great signing. Christian Wood, I don't know. He's been linked to the Miami Heat a couple times. I don't know how I feel about Christian Wood. He's a little bit of a whiner to me. He um he was in Houston. He got his touches. He showed out, and then he says, "I want to be in a playoff team, a playoff contention team." Okay, okay, I see what you mean. You showed out in Houston. You did your part. You sent him to Dallas. Jason Kidd played him here, played him there. Might have been a coaching issue, but I mean, there's not a lot of people who can play with Luka, in my opinion. I think Christian Wood would have been fine if he would have stayed longer. Like if he was to re-sign with Dallas, I would actually like to see how that goes. But he wanted a bigger role. I guess the ego got to his head a little bit. But Christian Wood could be a good starting four, maybe even a great backup four, depending on where he goes. John Wall. John Wall can be a great backup point guard, in my opinion. He can still facilitate the ball. You saw it last year when he played for the Clippers. He can still facilitate the ball. I understand injuries are an issue, but injuries are an issue with a lot of guys in the league. So I think John Wall can be a great backup too. He can, like I said, he can facilitate the ball. He can create his own shot a little bit, and he can run in transition still. So I feel like a lot of young teams could look at him, but I don't think he's looking for that. I think he's looking to be on a championship competitive team. So we'll see what happens with him. PJ Washington, a restricted free agent. He'll probably end up staying in Washington. And I'm sorry, not Washington. Whoa. He'll probably end up staying in Charlotte, and we'll see how that goes. Honestly, that man doesn't look like he's going anywhere. He's got to pay child support, so he'll take whatever money he can get. And then Terrence Ross. Terrence Ross, another good backup, like shooting guard, small forward kind of player. Again, run in transition. He can shoot the ball pretty decently. And yeah, another one. He could be good on maybe a playoff team. He was decent with the Suns last year. He had his games, he had his ups and he had his downs, but he was he was a little all over the place last year. Couldn't really find his footing. But I want to see where some of these guys go, man. Sorry, I have a notebook. That's where I write all my notes down, talk about the topics and stuff like that. All right. Well, on to the NFL topic of the day, of the episode. I'm sorry. We have 36 days till the NFL season starts. I'm super excited. NFL cannot get here any faster. I'm super excited for what's going to happen during the NFL season. I've been watching a lot of training camp videos. It's going to be a lot of stuff going on, man. I can't wait. I'm sorry for all the guys that are getting injured during training camp. Joe Burrow, some of the guys in Broncos training camp getting hurt, and some other guys I really can't name off the top of my head. But I hope anybody Cooper Kupp just got hurt. I hope everything works out with those guys. I hope they're ready for when the season starts. And just to talk about some of the offseason moves for the NFL going into the NFL year. DHop signed a 2-year, $26 million with the Tennessee Titans. I don't know why he did that, in my opinion. To me, it doesn't look like that big of a move. Like, yeah, there's some bright sides. You got Treylon Burks going into his second year. I think he's gonna have a great year. He's gonna be good. But D-Hop kind of takes a little bit away from him, but he'll still be a good number two. You got Derrick Henry going into another year. He's a little bit older, and you've seen what's going on in the running back market. The running back market is crazy. Um, To me, those are the only really two bright spots for DHop. Now you go into the bad. The the Tennessee Titans have a starting quarterback in Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill is not good. He's not a good passing quarterback. He's not a good quarterback, period. Ryan Tannehill was 24th in QBR. He was 23rd in the league in PPA, which is points contributed by a quarterback. And DHop is one of the best, has some of the best hands in the league. Why would you want to go there? The team, the team leader last year in yards was Robert Woods with 527 yards. What? Why would you want to go to a team like that? Yes, you'll get your touches. Yes, you'll get yes, you'll get the passes, you'll get the looks, but I don't get it. I mean, maybe he's looking to improve that team. Maybe he's looking to just get his touches, 2 years, go in, show he still got it. I don't know. And as a team, they completed 62% of their passes, which is not bad if you look at the number. 62% is decent. But when you have quarterbacks in the league like Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Hurts, who's become a great passer, like I don't. Tannehill's like bottom half quarterback in the league. I don't get it, man. But I mean, for DHop's sake, I hope he balls out. I hope Titans have a decent year. Just again, for DHop's sake, I hope he plays well. But we'll see what happens. The next free agent I wanted to talk about is Dalvin Cook. To me, when you look at Dalvin Cook's situation, when you look at what's going on in the running back market, running backs are being so undervalued. Saquon Barkley signed a 1-year, $11 million contract. I believe it was $11 million. Saquon's so underpaid. He was on the tag at first, which I thought was crazy because he was one of the biggest bright spots of the Giants season last year. And he was one of the main reasons why they made the playoff game and why they won that game, the playoff game. But I mean, I hope everything works out for Dalvin Cook. But if I'm from Dalvin Cook's perspective, you're looking at 3 teams, and unfortunately, they're all in the same division. If I'm Dalvin Cook, I'm looking at the Buffalo Bills with the only guy you're looking to compete for time with is James Cook, which I think he'll have a great year, and Naheem Hines got hurt. So I think if I'm Dalvin Cook and I walk into the Bills organization, he's automatically going to be the number 1, the RB1. Yes, it's the pass-heavy offense, but Dalvin Cook is not afraid to catch a pass. He can catch a pass. So it'll open up looks for him. And he's still a good runner. So, like I said, if I'm Dalvin Cook, I'm looking at the Bills. I'm looking at the Miami Dolphins because they're a big pass-heavy offense. The only thing about them is that you're going to get touches behind Raheem Mostert, which I think if Dalvin goes to Miami, he becomes the number 2 behind Raheem. And then the other team I'm looking at is the New York Jets. He's been linked to the Jets for a little while now. I think if Dalvin comes to the New York Jets, obviously when it comes to offensive coordinator, oh my God, I can't believe I'm blanking on his name. When he goes to the New York Jets, they run a similar offense that he did when he was in Minnesota. So I think that's going to help him a lot. And he's not really going to be a number 1 or a number 2. I think he'll be a 1B next to Breece Hall. And if I'm Dalvin Cook, I come in, I get a lot of touches earlier in the year. And if I'm the Jets, this works out because you signed Dalvin Cook for a 1, maybe 2-year deal. You give Breece Hall time to come back from that ACL injury. You give him time to settle his feet in. You don't really put a lot of pressure on him. You let Dalvin go for most of the year. You ease Breece Hall back in, and then when it's time for Dalvin to leave, Breece Hall's healthy. We'll see how he looks. We'll see the type of guy he becomes. and we get our core back when it comes to Brees Hall, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson. You know, if I'm the Jets, I'm not letting go of Brees Hall. But if Dalvin Cook comes in, it definitely gives Brees an advantage so that way he can heal up and get ready for later on in the season, especially when we make the playoffs. He's going to be huge. And the last running back I want to talk about, everybody's been talking about him, so I want to throw my 2 cents out there. Is Johnathan Taylor. Just a couple things I wrote down. So Johnathan Taylor requested a trade out of Indianapolis. Jim Irsay, the chairman and the CEO, tells him, no, we're not trading you. So then he decides that before Johnathan requested a trade, he was going to put him on a non-football related injury so they didn't have to pay him. What is going on in that front office? You just drafted a young, great quarterback in Anthony Richardson, which I think the run duo between Anthony Richardson and Johnathan Taylor, that is something a lot of us were expecting to see this year. That was that literally not Showtime, but it would have been fun to watch. But now you do all this with Johnathan Taylor. You want to put him on an injury reserve so you don't pay him, and he doesn't play, and then you don't want to. He asks for a trade, and you say no. Like, clearly he's unhappy. Like, I understand it's all a business, but it sucks from a player perspective. And I feel like Johnathan Taylor, he had a great year last year. He had a great year the year before, and he could help out a lot of teams. Like I said, not Miami, Buffalo. Buffalo's probably looking for a new running back, maybe a running back behind James Cook. And Miami, Buffalo was the first one I thought of. Miami maybe, and like especially with this running back market, like I just feel bad because the running back position has been so undervalued, and it sucks, man. Um, so just the last thing I want to say about Johnathan Taylor, which was I thought was hilarious. So all this is happening, talking about they wanted to place him on a non-football injury list, so they didn't pay him, they didn't play him, they don't want to trade him. Sources came out and said, this was the tweet. Sources told ESPN that Johnathan Taylor came in talking about pre-existing a back issue. Johnathan Taylor later on tweeted, this is what the tweet said: never had back pain, never reported it, not sure who sources are, but find a new one. Which, oh my God, it was so funny. I can't believe he said that, but I understand because they're trying to tell ESPN, Adam Schefter, all the reporters talking about, oh, he's not in good health. He's not gonna play. The man wants to get traded. Why would you want to keep somebody on your team if he doesn't want to be there? That ruins team morale, and it kind of messes with your logic of the team, how you view the team, where you're gonna go, where's your future. Like, do you want Johnathan Taylor as your future? Do you not want him? He doesn't want to be there, so why would you want him to stay? It doesn't make sense to me, and I can't wait to see how everything unfolds in the future. I hope everything works out for him. I hope he goes to a good team. I hope he plays this year, because God knows if he goes to a decent team, I'm picking him in fantasy. He's a good fantasy running back. And for Mr. Jim Irsay to take that away from us fantasy guys is downright disrespectful. Downright disrespectful, man, which is crazy. Oh, man. But on to the last piece of the NFL topic. I have my top 10 NFL teams going into next season. Some of you might not like this list. Some of you might love my list. Some of you might want to switch a couple teams. At the end of the day, it's my list. I love to hear everybody's opinions. So make sure you comment on the video, follow my Twitter page, follow the Instagram, and we can chat it up. But I got some honorable mentions here. I got a decent amount of honorable mentions. I got the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns are going to be a great team as long as Deshaun can go back to Texans. Deshaun, they're going to be a great team. They might not. They might even jump farther. They have a decent amount of expectations, but I think they're going to shine this year. Obviously, the Minnesota Vikings, their defense is terrible. Oh my God, their defense is terrible. The only bright side about the Minnesota Vikings is Jettas. That's really it. The New York Giants. I didn't want to put the Giants, but because they did sign Saquon to another year, I'm happy. So we'll just see what happens. And a lot of their training camp videos look good. Some of their wide receivers look pretty good. Darren Waller looked great. And I believe there was even a report talking about they told Daniel Jones stop throwing Darren Waller the ball. So hopefully Darren Waller has a great year. I wish nothing but the best for that guy, especially coming out of Vegas. But we'll see what happens with that. I got the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions were top 5 in offense last year. Jared Goff, he's not a stud, but he's a really good quarterback. They're gonna have another good year. Hopefully they can turn it around. Last year they almost made the playoffs. Hopefully this year they can make the wild card. We'll see what happens. Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks. Unfortunately, I hope everything goes good with Kenneth Walker, but they're gonna be a good team. You still got Tyler Lockett. You still got DK Metcalf. You just signed Geno to another year. I hope last year wasn't a fluke because he was bad as a Jet. Everybody was bad as a Jet, but I get it. Hopefully, it stops here with Aaron Rodgers. Just to point that out there. But I hope everything goes good with the Seahawks, man. Next honorable mention, I got the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm expecting a big year out of Kenny Pickett. Not a big year, but a big improvement. Because Kenny Pickett showed a lot last year. They have the weapons. Deontay Johnson. I think George Pickens is going to be so good. They still have, oh my God, I'm blanking on the running back. Oh, Najee Harris. Thank you. Najee Harris. I think the Steelers are going to be good. They still have a good top 5, top 8 defense in the league. Obviously, one of the big pieces of that was Minkah Fitzpatrick, but he stayed. And the biggest part of their defense that I hope is healthy throughout the year that really gives the defense and the Steelers team that extra edge is TJ Watt. We saw it last year. TJ Watt was definitely in the running for Defensive Player of the Year before he got hurt. So if TJ Watt is there, their defense could be top 5, arguably top 3. So we'll see what happens with the Steelers. And my last honorable mention, you guys might disagree with me, is the Chargers. I'm not a big believer in Justin Herbert. Yes, he's got a great arm. He's got good accuracy. The numbers show he made the playoffs one time, and he shat the bed. He lost to a guy in Trevor Lawrence who had 4 interceptions. 4 interceptions. He scored 1 touchdown in that whole game. You're telling me he's a top 5 talent? He's a top 5 quarterback in the league? I don't believe it. Their wide receiver core is always hurt. Their coaching is and the defense is not that good in my opinion. The defense hasn't been good since the past 3 years. So hopefully they prove me wrong because I like the way Justin Herbert throws the ball. Again, the numbers show he could be a great quarterback, but he's got to have team success. When you're the quarterback, one of the biggest things that I look at is team success because you're that guy. Because there are some games where two defenses are bad at the end of it, and then after that, it comes down to you. You're the quarterback. You got to read the defense. You got to put points on that scoreboard. If you can't do that, you're not good. I was just talking about Ryan Tannehill. Yes, they have Derrick Henry who scores a lot of their who's the main guy on their offensive possessions. But if Derrick Henry's doing most, you got to do your part. And if Tannehill doesn't do his part, they suck. They suck. And I feel like that's the same thing with the Chargers. Austin Eckler, he's not your traditional running back, but he's a running back that can go out there, catch passes. If Herbert doesn't really give him the ball like that, or doesn't get it out to everybody else, like obviously Austin Eckler had a great year last year, but like they I don't know, man. I'm not a believer until they go and they win a playoff game. His rookie year didn't make the playoffs. His second year, he almost had it, lost to the Raiders. Third year, you made the playoff game. I'm going to say it again. Trevor Lawrence had 4 interceptions, and you still lost the game. And you scored 1 touchdown. 1! Bro, you got to be better. You got to be better. All right, on to the top 10 NFL teams that I have going into next season. At number 10, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. The way they ended the season last year was great. Obviously, I was just talking about 4 picks. They came back, won that playoff game. Trevor Lawrence is on the come up. Trevor Lawrence is going to be great next year. And you add a deep threat in Calvin Ridley. And you still have pretty good guys like Christian Kirk. Zay Jones had his moments. But you have Travis Etienne. The Jags going to be a threat next year. They're going to be really good. At number 9, I have the Miami Dolphins. I'm praying Tua does not get hurt. Watching what happened to him last year was upsetting. I feel so bad for him. The fact that he even wants to play football again amazes me. But I hope everything works out for him. If Tua's healthy and Tua plays all year, they can be a really good team. They can be a really good team. Because last year when he didn't play, they had the quarterbacks behind Tua were not good. Not good. But if Tua can stay healthy all year, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Number 8, I have the Dallas Cowboys. They're always up there. I understand Dak's been having his issues, interceptions in training camp, all that. I'm a firm believer in that. That defense, first of all, looks crazy to me. You have Micah Parsons in the front. I'm probably missing some of the linemen, but you have 2 great corners in Stephon Gilmore. Yes, he's older, but he's still a great corner in the league. And you have Trayvon Diggs. Like they're gonna be a great defense overall. And if Dak can clean up his act, they're gonna be a really good team. Because you have a wide receiver core in they lost Dalton Schultz. You have a core in CeeDee Lamb. And then you pick up a guy like Brandon Cooks, which by the look of training camp, other than Dak's interceptions, they have a connection. You have a great running back. You have a new RB1 that showed out last year in Tony Pollard. So, and then I understand Zeke is gone, but like I said, if Dak can clean up his act, Cowboys are going to be good next year. Let's just hope they can keep it up. At number 7, I have the Baltimore Ravens. Adding Odell Beckham was huge. Keeping Rashad Bateman was great. I believe J.K. Dobbins is still on the team. And then you have one of the MVP candidates I have for next year in Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is not arguably, he's the best dual threat quarterback in the NFL. We all know what he can do with his legs. Now you give him a target like Odell Beckham Jr. We saw what he did last year in the Miami Dolphins game. It's not like he can't pass. He showed time and time again that he can pass. I understand he doesn't always have to rely on his legs. His legs are one of the best parts of his game, but they're gonna be really good next year too. They like I said, Lamar Jackson, MVP candidate, and they could maybe go to the Super Bowl. Maybe. And number 6, I have the San Francisco 49ers. The only issue with them is who's going to start at quarterback. You have Sam Darnold, probably not. But like I said, looking at some of the preseason games, training camp. Whoa, Sam Darnold looks like he's not seeing any more ghosts. You have Brock Purdy, who's coming off of Tommy John surgery, so we can see how that goes. And then you got Trey Lance, who's coming off of his ankle injury. In my opinion, you start Brock Purdy. You start, even though you gave Trey Lance his money, I think you start Brock Purdy, because Brock Purdy, you saw it last year. He fit that offense so well. He was Jimmy G 2.0. I don't know if that's the right way to say that, because Jimmy G was okay, but Brock Purdy did it better. Brock Purdy is a young gunslinger. And that's what they need. Because you have guys like Brandon Ayuk, who's arguably the number 1. You have Deebo Samuel. You have, oh my God. I was about to say, who's their running back? You have Christian McCaffrey. He's not even arguably, he's the best run and pass and catching running back in the league. Christian McCaffrey is probably top 2, if not 2, number 1 in running backs. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot they picked up McCaffrey last year. But I feel like and their defense is great, the 49ers. So I feel like if you give Brock Purdy the keys and just tell him do exactly what he did last year, obviously depending on what happened with the surgery, how he looks, how he is, I think they're going to be fine. And we might even see some flashes of what they did last year. Was it last year or 2 years ago? 2 years ago when they had, no, it was last year. I don't remember. When they showed flashes of, they had Jimmy G out there, took him out, gave Trey Lance a couple plays. I can see that happening again because, again, I feel like Trey Lance and Brock Purdy are 2 different types of players. So, and knowing the Niners offense, they could go either way. Depending on what they need, they could put both in there. They might even throw Sam Darnold in there, in my opinion. We'll see what happens, but 49ers is going to be great. They're always top contender, all that. If they didn't lose to the Eagles last year, they still would have lost Kansas City, but still, they're definitely a big team. Number 5, again, I'm not trying to be biased, but the New York Jets. That core is so good, man. It's so good. I'm so excited. I've never been more excited as a Jet fan than to see an offense around Aaron Rodgers, Breece Hall when he comes back healthy, Garrett Wilson, who's a stud. He had 1,000-yard receiving year last year with 3 different quarterbacks that were ass. Mike White, an old ass Joe Flacco, and the MILF man, Zach Wilson. Bro, you give him a top 5, arguably top 5, definitely top 10 QB in the league in Aaron Rodgers. Bro, Garrett Wilson's gonna have a field day. And then you bring back guys who were the main guys in Green Bay last year in Allen Lazard, which I think Allen Lazard is going to be a great number 2. We still have guys like Corey Davis. We bring in Randall Cobb's old ass, but He'll be fine, in my opinion. Him and Aaron Rodgers are like this, so he'll always have a job. But yeah, they're and then we have a top 3 defense in the league. We have guys like Quinn Williams, who just re-signed. Quinn Williams is a dog. CJ Mosley, our Capitan. You have obviously Sauce and DJ Reed. We're top 3 defense last year, and we lost nobody. And we're getting another year in Jermaine Johnson, which, oh my God. Like I said, I cannot wait to watch this New York Jets team. And the next team I want to talk about is their Monday Night Football matchup, which is going to be a great start to the NFL season. Monday Night Football, New York Jets against the number 4 team I have going into next year, the Buffalo Bills. It's always a rivalry, division rivals, all of that. But Buffalo's so good, man. Jesus. And it like breaks my heart because Monday Night Football is going to be so fun. And I don't know who to root for. Like I said, Josh Allen, my favorite player in the NFL, and I'm a New York Jets guy. I know it's hard to root for two teams in the same division, but that Monday Night Football game is going to be crazy. I do think they split during the year, but still, it's going to be a hell of a ride to start off the year. Number 3, I got the Cincinnati Bengals. My prayers go out to Joe Burrow, man. I hope everything works out. They said he could miss several weeks. We'll see what happens, but they have a nice receiving core themselves. Losing Eli Apple was pretty tough, but we'll see how they recuperate. But you have a stud, probably top 3 wide receiver in the league in Jamar Chase. You have a good number 2 guy in T. Higgins. And then you got Joe Burrow. I understand the offensive line is an issue. He gets sacked more than any other quarterback. But the fact that they went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago, they went to the conference game last year, like, that offensive line does not faze him. It does not faze Joe Burrow. I understand that's probably why he keeps getting hurt. If you want to keep him healthy all year, you definitely want to upgrade the offensive line. But Cincy, man, they're a force to be reckoned with. Cincinnati Bengals. At number 2, I got the runner-ups from last year. Philadelphia Eagles. I understand they lost a couple pieces on the defensive end, but they got a lot of great guys in the draft. A lot of Georgia guys, man. And then, you got another year in Jalen Hurts, who he was great last year. In my opinion, should have won MVP, but I understand who won. I'll get to him later. I think he should have won last year, especially first year as a starter, go all the way to the Super Bowl. And he absolutely killed all year. He was a threat in the run game. His running backs were a threat in the run game. And he was a threat in the pass. He killed in the pass. That was one of the biggest questions about him coming into the draft was how is he going to be as a passer? He shut that up real quick. He said, just give me a chance. He shut that up real quick. And obviously, his receiving core is so nice. You have a tight end in Dallas Goedert, which I think he's a very underrated tight end. And then you have 2 guys on the wings in Smitty and A.J. Brown. I think Philly might go back to the Super Bowl, depending on how, obviously the year works out. But a lot of people said that last year, they made it because of their schedule, their division was trash, but I'm not buying that, bro. Football is football. They're gonna be good next year. I'm telling you, they might go back to the Super Bowl. And at number 1, I got the defending champs, Kansas City Chiefs. Patty Mahomes is that dude. Patrick Mahomes is that guy, bro. I understand why he won MVP last year. Killed. He won MVP, Super Bowl MVP, and a Super Bowl champion. two-time Super Bowl champion, Patrick Mahomes, best quarterback in the league. He's a stud. He's a magician. But other guys on that team, Travis Kelce, they lost Juju, but that's fine. I can't wait to see another year in Sky Moore. I almost called him Sky Clark. I don't know why. But Sky Moore, I think he's going to be great next year. He's going to have a good year, number 2. You still have Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You still have Isaiah Pacheco. Isaiah Pacheco was really good. He came up late last year, saved me in fantasy. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that right now. Saved me in fantasy last year. The defense is solid. Solid enough to where Mahomes can hide them, but still. And one of the X factors they have is Kadarius Toney. I understand Kadarius is probably coming off an injury. He'll probably have an up and down year, but we'll see how he does in the playoffs. But yeah, just to run that back, my top 10 NFL teams going into the season. At number 10, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. At number 9, I have the Miami Dolphins. At number 8, I have the Dallas Cowboys. At number 7, I have the Baltimore Ravens. At number 6, I have the San Francisco 49ers. At number 5, I have the New York Jets. At number 4, I have the Buffalo Bills. At number 3, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. Number 2, the Philadelphia Eagles. And number 1, the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, y'all. And just to get into the last segment of the show, I just want to talk a little bit about baseball, a little bit about WNBA. For those watching, I know I got a lot of my guys watch baseball. Ohtani was not traded. So since Ohtani was not traded, the deadline was, I believe, yesterday or 2 days ago. Ohtani wasn't traded. So he's going to play out the year as an Angel. But this offseason, he's got to be traded. I have 3 teams that he might go to after the year's over. The New York Yankees. He's been tied to them a lot. The Yankees, in my opinion, seem like the only ones who can really give a good trade for him. And, as a Met fan, as much as it pains me to say, who wouldn't want to be a Yankee? Like, I'm a New Yorker at heart. My dad is a diehard Yankee fan. Shout out to you, Pops. But who wouldn't want to be a Yankee? Especially with a duo in Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. That's box office. Literally box office. I would go watch a Yankee game. The next place I have is San Francisco Giants. I've heard that the only reason he's tied to them is because he could go there and get a bag of money. Moolah. That's one of the big things I've heard, is that he can extend there and he can get paper. But I feel like one team that desperately needs him, again, I'm trying not to be biased, is the New York Mets. We just traded away. I'll get to that. You know what? I'll get to that in a second. But I feel like Ohtani, if you don't want to be a Yankee, just come to Queens. I'm from the Bronx, but come to Queens. Come on, man. Like, we got guys like Lindor, Alonso. Senga was just an all-star. We have an upcoming rookie catcher in Francisco Alvarez. We still got guys like Brandon Nimmo. Vogelback has his games here and there, but we need him. Ohtani, if anybody wants to repost this, Ohtani, come to the Mets. Please. We need some pitchers, man. Jesus. And that's a good segue to lead into my next topic about the MLB. Mets throwing in the towel. All my guys in my Mets group chat, I talk to y'all all the time, baseball season. We throwing in the towel, man, because we were just talking last month. We're only like between 5 and 7 games out the wild card. We can go on a run. Nah, bro. They was not having that. They threw in the towel. We traded away. Meanwhile, we traded all these guys for young talent. Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer. We traded away Robertson, who was our closer. We had a great year. Closer. And we don't have Edwin Diaz. Make it make sense, please. I don't know why they did that. They traded away Mark Canna and Tommy Pham. Mark Canna, I understand. He was an oldie. He didn't really have. He didn't really play good when we needed him to. So I'm not a big fan. I'm not crazy about losing Tommy Pham. Mark Canna. But talking about Tommy Pham, he upped his stock the past like month and a half. When we needed him to play, he was great. Um, he was good in the feet. He was good in the outfield. But I didn't think he was gonna get traded, but I kind of saw it coming. Losing Tommy Pham kind of hurt. Losing Verlander definitely hurt because I know he wanted to be here, but I get it. Max Scherzer, Max had an up and down year. I guess whatever. See ya. But yeah, the three people I'm really upset about losing: JV, Robertson, and Tommy Pham. All for young talent. But we did get Acuna's brother. I hope he pans out well. We'll see what happens. We could definitely use him though. We need all the talent. But the reason why I say Ohtani to the Mets is because we traded for all this young talent. Hopefully, we can give up some of them, well, a decent amount, and we can go out and get Ohtani in the offseason. Let's go Mets. But we'll see what happens. And just last topic of the day, just talk about WNBA. My predictions for whoever's going to win the season. Obviously, the Las Vegas Aces. They just clinched the playoffs. First team to do it last year. I think yesterday. They're the first. They're the first team to 20 wins. I think they're like 20-1 or 20-2. It does suck for them losing Candace Parker. Candace Parker went down for a little while. She's down, but we'll see what happens when she comes back. They really don't need her. That was just a bonus in the offseason, especially because they won last year. So, yeah, I got the Aces. And then, again, not to be biased, I got the Liberty. We are the second place best team. Stewie's going off. Stewie's been doing great. I'm voting for Stewie for MVP. Not trying to be biased. But Sabrina looks good. Jonquel Jones is finally getting into her groove offensively. You know, in the beginning, she had a rough going. She's so used to having the ball in her hand all the time, and for us, she's turned into like a number 3 and number 2 option. But the past couple games, she's had like a 13-point game, 10-point rebound, 10 rebounds. The game after that, I think she had a 20 ball, 10 rebounds. She's been really playing great for us the past couple games. So I'm hoping it translates into the playoffs when we get there. And the third team I have as like a sneaker is the Connecticut Sun. Alyssa Thomas has been great. DeWanna Bonner's been great. Is it DeWanna Bonner? I think. Yeah, I think it's DeWanna Bonner. I'm trying to remember who got traded. They have a whole bunch of people. Losing the big though was kind of hurt. I forgot her name. Damn. Wow, that sucks. I'm so mad. Sorry. But no, the Connecticut Sun are definitely a sneaky pick. Past couple years, they went to the finals, made it to the playoffs. They lost to the Aces last year in 3 games. Connecticut Sun are no joke, and they're third in the league. So I definitely know New York Liberty are going to see them in the ECF probably. And just my last thing, I want to give my MVP predictions for the WNBA season. Obviously, to me, it looks like a two-woman race between Stewie and A'ja Wilson. Asia's been so great all year. Obviously, she won MVP and DPOY last year. She's been so good. Stewie's been killing, man. The only thing that gives Stewie the edge is I believe Stewie's averaging more points, but Asia's got the two-way ability. So I think it's really a two-woman race. And I got 2 underdogs that I want to see. Hopefully get in there, maybe get a couple votes. Going back to the Las Vegas Aces, Jackie Young. Jackie Young's been a stud all year. She's been killing. She's been one of the biggest focal points of the Las Vegas Aces. Her and Chelsea Gray, you know, they come in, they do their parts, but Jackie's really upped her scoring this year. She's shooting the three ball a lot better. She just had a nasty crossover the other day, which I thought was so nice. And then my last one I got is Alyssa Thomas. You know, she's always big in the triple-double game. She's the big reason why the Connecticut Sun are still floating after losing Jonquel Jones. Alyssa Thomas has been great. She just had a game the other day. I think they were playing the Minnesota Lynx. 13 points, 15 rebounds, 10 assists. I think she's up to like 3 or 4 triple doubles now. She's the only woman in WNBA history to have a triple double in the WNBA finals. She did that last year. She's so good, man. But hopefully one day, it may not be this year, but I'm hoping one year she can kind of up her scoring a little bit and maybe go for that MVP. But yeah, man, this WNBA season is gonna be great, man. We're getting down to the wire. I can't wait to see what happens. All right, man. And well, that's going to wrap it up for today's first episode of the Trophy Room podcast. I appreciate y'all sticking with me, man. Can't wait to put out some more content. Can't wait for next week's episode. Already looking into some topics. Make sure y'all hit the follow button, subscribe on all platforms, like the video, and most importantly, tell your friends.